So as far as buying games and systems is concerned, is there a point where you're going to draw the line? Do you have like an end goal where once you reach that goal you'll think that's it, that's enough, I don't want to keep going on forever, I've got pretty much everything that I've wanted? Or do you not have any limits? For me, I've definitely got limits. I've definitely got an end goal. I need to have an end goal there. I need to draw the line somewhere. I don't want to keep on buying games regularly for the rest of my life, because I'd end up with so much shit it would be like taking over my house, and that would just depress me. So I do need to have an end goal there, because it's nice knowing that eventually you'll reach that goal, and then you'll have pretty much everything that you've wanted. Um, you'll have enough games, systems, whatever, and then you can just kind of close the door on it and just fully appreciate and enjoy your collection, which will mainly consist of like games that you really like. That's if you only buy games that you sure you really like, which is what I do. I never buy games just for the sake of buying them. And if I have a game that I don't like, I'll just get rid of it. I'll sell it on eBay or give it away. I don't like holding on to stuff just for the sake of it. I don't want to end up with loads of junk. So yeah, I've got about 180 games, which to me is a lot of games. To a lot of people in the gaming community, it's a really tiny amount. To a lot of everyday people, maybe most everyday people, it's an obsessive amount. It's all relative, really. But at the moment, I don't feel like it's too much. And I've looked into most of the games that are on the systems that I own, and whenever I've seen a game where I think I'm sure I'd really like that, I'll put it onto the wanted list. So there's between 60 to 100 games on my wanted list, and once I've got all those games on that wanted list, that's where I'm going to draw the line. Like I said, I don't want to keep going on forever. I don't want to be in this endless pursuit of games, of getting games and buying consoles. I don't like the idea of that. For me personally, it would. I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'm speaking for myself. I would find that to be unfulfilling and unsatisfying. Because like every time you buy a game, every time you buy a console, there's always going to be another that you need. It's never going to end, and I don't like the idea of that. That doesn't sound pleasurable to me. So it's nice to have an end goal, because once you reach it, it's like great. I've got pretty much everything that I've wanted. Sure, there's going to be loads of other games out there that I'd like, loads of other consoles out there that I like, but this is where I'm drawing the line. I don't want to end up with a room just crammed packed with stuff. It's for me that's too much. If I don't think there's anything wrong with if someone else has got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games, or a house full of games or whatever. If they're comfortable with that and they're happy with that and they're not causing any harm to anyone, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it just isn't for me. For me personally, I'd feel suffocated by it. It would really depress me. I just want to be free of it all. So there needs to be an end goal. There needs to be somewhere where I draw the line and think that's it. Okay, no more. So I've got like 5 systems. I've got an Atari 100 XL, a Dreamcast, a PS2, an N64, and a Game Boy Advance SP. Across those systems is an immense amount of games that I'd really enjoy playing. There's a wide variety of games, so I don't really need any more systems. And plus, I mean, if I was to buy another system, I wouldn't want to buy it just to have the system. I don't collect systems. If I was to buy another system, the only point there'd be in me buying the system would be if I was going to start buying games for it. But yeah, if I just keep buying system after system after system, then I'm going to be buying games for all of those systems. Otherwise, what would be the point? Because I don't collect systems. There'd be no point in me buying systems if I wasn't going to buy any games for them. And it's like, where does it end? Do you know what I mean? It needs to end somewhere. I need to draw a line under it somewhere. So I'm not saying I'll never buy another console again, but if I do, it will only be about 2 at the most, and that's more than enough, really. I've got 5 systems. I've got a lot of games. There's a lot of games on my wanted list. Once I've got all of that stuff, it's going to be more than enough. I'm not going to need any more stuff, any more games or consoles or whatever. I'm not going to desire any more. So yeah. So as I was saying, if I was to get another console, it would only be 2 at the most. I don't want to keep going on forever. And I already know what they'd be. An Atari Jaguar, for some reason, it just interests me. I think it's because it was Atari's last console, and it's like a total underdog. And plus, there wouldn't be that many games that I'd be wanting to get for it. I think there's less than a handful of games on the system that interest me. So that totally suits me. And I know it's extremely unlikely for it to happen, but if Sega were to bring out another console, I'm sure I'd get that. So yeah, where are you going to draw the line? Do you have an end goal, or are you just going to keep on going, for the foreseeable future, or for the rest of your life? Yeah. I mean, also the fact is it if I was to keep on regularly buying games for the rest of my life, not only would I eventually end up with like a house full of games, which I wouldn't like at all, but I'd never be able to play all of those games in my lifetime, let alone finish them all, and that would annoy me. I think once I've got all the games on my wanted list, together with the games that I've already got, that's going to be a really nice amount. It's a manageable amount. It doesn't feel too much for me. I'd feel comfortable with it, and I'd be able to thoroughly enjoy each and every one in my lifetime and finish every one. So yeah, what do you think? Write a comment below or send a video response. So yeah, thanks for listening.